This is Seasons of Discontent with your hosts Rick Snyder and Matt Combs.
Welcome to Seasons of Discontent, Season 9, Episode 23, brought to you by Rick Snyder's Washington on social media, and I'm Rick Snyder.
I'm Matt.
And we're back discussing all things Washington sports and life as part of the mighty Rick Snyder empire. Hey, like that, Matt, I got my own empire now.
I know. Yeah, you're definitely like Lord Vader.
Yep, so please hit the share, subscribe, comment, and the thanks button, which is a little dollar sign, so that Matt has something for Christmas. All right, lots to talk about. Briefly, what did you think about the Cowboys loss? It was the third most seen game ever, 45 million people. And they played competitive for about 2 minutes. And, they played a little longer than that. But it gave up, 25 points in the last quarter.
Yeah, I was going to say they were competitive up until the fourth quarter.
It was reasonable. I mean, they were never going to win it, but they weren't being embarrassed.
Right.
And once again, Thanksgiving blows. It just didn't have the horses to put up with it. So, not surprised at all.
No, we both picked them to get crushed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I had 44-17, so I was in the ballpark. And, Sam, once again, when Sam gets tired at the end of bad games, he gets worse. That's the one thing there. And afterwards, they gave him a ride back, and then they fired Jack Del Rio as defensive coordinator, and now Ron Rivera will call plays. And I'm very much looking forward to Sunday. Now, Ron has called defensive plays before, but not in a while. And and he said something the other day that really caught my eyes. Like he said, I need to kind of learn what people's strengths are and play to those. I'm thinking, you've been here 4 years, dude. This is game 13. You don't know what people's strengths are? What have you been doing? You haven't been working with the offense. I thought that was baffling. So
it was very reminiscent of Shanahan. Well, now it's time to evaluate for next year. Like you haven't already been evaluating for the entire time that you've been here. Like you don't know what your defense, who's good at rushing the passer. You don't know who's good in coverage. I mean, clearly Del Rio didn't know because he would send Jamin Davis and David Mayo out in coverage every damn time and get burnt by a wide receiver. Let's also not forget the one guy that we both picked to get fired. He got fired too. The Brett Vesselmeyer or whatever his name was, the defensive backs coach. He gone. Interesting on him. Have you seen his resume?
I never really paid attention to him until he got fired, and I looked it up. And I was like, holy crap, this guy's been coaching in high school. Now, okay, I've seen coaches coach high school and then get to college and then get to the pros. I've never seen him go back, in that order. And I was just like, okay, this might explain some things because clearly there's a communication problem with his people. And after that Dallas game, one of the cornerbacks, I think it was St. Juice, said, we're still trying to figure out how to, hand off coverage to people. I'm thinking, why? So that's a clear failing by an assistant coach there.
Yeah, and to kind of elaborate on that, what he said was, he would be lined up on the left side, but his man's on the right side. So they're crisscrossing in the middle of the field to go cover their guys. And then it's up to the safeties to figure out who they're getting handed off to. And it seems like either the defensive backs coach or Del Rio, the coverage was too complicated. Instead of just lining up across your guy that you're going to cover, and, if you're going to pass him off to a safety, the safety right behind you taking that guy. Like, it just seems like things got overcomplicated, and maybe that's why they took the step back in defense. I mean, it doesn't help that your pass rush doesn't get there, but then again, they had 9 sacks against the Giants.
Yeah,
they still lost. They still honestly, Rick, the thing with this defense is it's a lack of a pass rush. They have explosive moments of pass rushes. It's like in the Arizona game, it was like 3 or 4 sacks in a row by Deron Payne and Montez Sweat, and then kind of went into a lull. And then it was like, oh, well, we're gonna have 9 sacks against the Giants. But realistically, the big thing this year is the lack of turnovers. This team does not get turnovers. Aside from a game-saving interception by Jamin Davis, his one good play this season, what other cornerback can you mention that has a pick? I mean, That's the thing that we're missing from last year. I remember Kendall Fuller taking at least one or two, and I think he took at least one to the house last year. The defensive backs aren't getting interceptions, and now we probably know why.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought Emmanuel Forbes was a ball hawk that was going to get all these interceptions. Yeah.
Apparently he was, but the fact that he's got to, run halfway across the field to cover his guy because he's not lined up in front of him, it's just add it to the list of issues, add it to the list of add it to the bad column of Ron Rivera when you're doing his evaluation at the end of the year. Ron doesn't know how to really pick first round picks.
Ron said Monday that Forbes has a significant elbow injury, but would not elaborate exactly what that is.
That means he's not playing for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think he's gone for the rest of the season. Now, there is good news that Charles will be back at some point. Although Ron kind of said, well, depending, meaning is Chris Paul playing better and they're not going to bench him. That was the only injury news. But to me, I took Forbes as you're done for the season kind of thing with that. Mm-hmm. And now he'll only play half the season as a rookie, basically, because he's missed 3 games, 2 injured, and one he got tossed in the first series.
Right.
That's 3. You got 5 to go. Man, what a disappointment he's been this year on there. Oh, we got a commercial timeout. Wait a minute, here we go. All righty, Christmas presents are coming time. You can, I know people don't want Commander stuff, but you can get Redskins stuff. They're both on Amazon. The only place to get them, I'm not signing them, but they're only like $15 each for a book. That's pretty cheap. So you can get 100 Things Commanders fans if you like, or you can get the Redskins. The Commanders is updated. This one's written in 2014. This one's written last year. But if you like just Redskins stuff, there you go. All right, back to our.
No, I'm surprised Amazon will let you sell the Redskins book, because weren't they one of the companies that came out and said you're not allowed to sell anything with the R word on it?
And I had a discussion with them about my First Amendment freedoms.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm sure.
Look, I was talking with somebody about this today, and I kind of compare this to the podcast. You and I slip up all the time and say Redskins because I'm 41 years old. I'm not going to tell everybody how old you are, but we've been saying this team name for over 40 years. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. in my case, it's not like I can just say, oh, they're not the Redskins anymore. They're the Commanders. And I also agree with John Riggins. John Riggins didn't play for the Commanders. John Riggins was a Washington Redskin. Same with Sean Taylor. Same with all the other legends that you want to talk about. The only players that are Washington Commanders are the guys that have been on this team last year and this year.
And, this is something I have to deal with all the time as a writer about this. And I finally came to the decision on this. If you are a Redskin, I'm writing Redskin. If you're a Commander, I'll write Commanders. There's not too many people bridging the gap a little bit. I'm writing Washington football team ever again. Screw that. Just 2 missing years. But that's how we had to decide to do it. Mm-hmm. Is I can't write Washington Commanders John Riggins. That'd be stupid. Mm-hmm. So I still say Redskins. And there's a lot of woke companies that got rid of Redskin gear that if you go look now on Etsy or whatever, they're all there.
Which is funny because I saw a guy on Twitter, the DC Sports Artist. He's doing a release of Art Monk prints that he painted, and he said he can't put them on Etsy because anything with the Redskins logo they'll pull. But I've seen plenty of Redskins stuff on the Etsy website. Yeah,
he must not be current on that. He does great work.
He's an amazing artist.
I was the guy that really got him in the mainstream because he was a new guy, and I retweeted him a bunch, and he blew up. Sort of like somebody else had a new shirt that said Washington something command, and what'd you do? 45,000 clicks.
Yeah, it says I got it on Breaking Tea. I'm not getting paid by them. I'm not endorsed by them, but it's a great T-shirt. It got 43.9 thousand views, something like that. It says Washington football, tired of this S, and then it's it's blacked out the HIT, but it's a great shirt. People seem to like it. I had a couple people ask me where to buy it. I'm waiting for my check from Breaking Tea, but I don't think that's coming either. Just like the checks from you don't come.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, I have a reason.
Why am I doing all this stuff for free? I guess I'm the idiot.
Like that at times. Welcome to the media.
I know, right?
Okay. All right. Today, Grant Paulson tweeted out that he thinks the offensive players would not endorse Eric Bieniemy as the head coach because they're tired of his old school, ways, which translation is yelling at him. And I thought, gee, everybody was all in on EB at the beginning. No, it doesn't matter that he's yelling. He's trying, they can handle it. They need to handle it. And now I see fans just basically wanting to throw EB overboard to the point that it reminds me of the RG3 thing. Everybody loved RG3. I'd never seen a player so beloved right away and then so hated at the end. And it's almost like the enemy walks in the door, they're ready to throw him a parade. You're going to be next head coach. And now everybody's like, screw him. I was like, wow.
Well, I mean, I think the thing with Bieniemy is people expected him to come in here and this team score 35 points a game like the Chiefs do, and when that didn't happen, people are like, well, obviously he's not that good. EB's an old school. He's an old school player. He's an old school coach. I mean, he's not part of this cupcake crew that's just, going to have beers and hang out with their players and kiss and hug on them. Bieniemy is a football coach. The thing with Eric Bieniemy is, would we have gotten this production out of Sam Howell from Scott Turner? No. And the only thing that I worry about, I know the question that you're getting ready to ask, and I'm going to answer it. The type of coach that I want next year is an offensive guy. I don't care if he's EB. I don't care if he's 35 years old, Wonder Boy, like Sean McVay. I want an offensive-minded coach that is going to come in here, because it's an offensive-minded league. We can talk about how bad the defense is till we're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, offense is what is churning this league in the regular season. And in order to get to the playoffs, you've got to have that high-powered offense. There's some poo-poo offenses out there, and we're included. So I want a guy that's going to come in here, sling the ball around, but also utilize our running backs, what Eric Bieniemy doesn't do. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's got to be one of these little 35-year-old dudes, but I think the thing that we've been hearing a lot, and this broke on Sunday by CBS Sports, was the next the Washington job is going to be one of the most sought after jobs this offseason because they like the style that Josh Harris has in the NHL and in the NBA. And they think, they're going to go get one of these young assistant general managers from Baltimore or Philly or Kansas City or one of the winning franchises. So they feel like the head coaching job is going to be very sought after. I just have to I hate to steal this from the Philadelphia 76ers, but Rick, I think we have to trust the process.
Yeah, it's like you're reading my mind, or at least my budget. So I'm glad you're doing that. But I think it will be a young guy, because if you want an analytics guy, no 60-plus-year-old is going to want to go to analytics.
Well, and he's already got an analytics guy. He's got a consultant that he's hired.
But they're going to bring it in more. No, Ryan gets to do what he wants to do. They can shove all the analytics at him. He can just go away. Mm-hmm. But next coach is going to have to embrace them, which means he'll probably be, I'd like to see somebody from his mid-30s to mid-40s, sort of like a Joe Gibbs was 41, something like that, and do that. But I don't know. Well, kind of got me there.
No, as Rick is trying not to die. Yeah, I mean, that's the way of the league. I mean, I know Ben Johnson his name's been coming up a lot. He's offensive coordinator for Detroit, and honestly, Rick, if Jay Gruden hadn't have had the year that he'd had, or he hadn't have had, 2 years tenured with this team, Sean McVay probably would have been the head coach of this team. We saw what he was able to do as 35 years old, go over to the Rams, win a Super Bowl. Now they're struggling this year because they had to get rid of all the draft picks to build the team that he wanted. But, if you get a GM who hires a coach who are going to work hand in hand, this could be an elongated run, hopefully.
All right. Last question before we go out. Will Washington win again this season? I'm going to say yes, just for the heck of it, that somebody else blows one, but just one. And I got a PR release that said the last 10 years, here are the worst teams in the NFL. And in the last 10 years, Washington has won 13 games in December, which means 1.3 wins a year. I was like, well, I guess that's true. It just seems shocking. They were next to last in wins. I think it goes again this time. They go 1-4 down the stretch here. I can't tell you which one they'll win, and maybe not even that. But then I win in 2. I mean, not beating Miami, I don't think, on Sunday. Not beating Dallas in the rematch unless Dallas gives up and doesn't need it. Not going to beat San Francisco. So you do have the Rams, maybe.
Well, and that was going to be my thought was they're going to win one of either the Rams or the Jets. If the Jets are dumb enough to let Aaron Rodgers play, he may not be 100%. Maybe we could expose that. I think the Rams game is here. That's 3,000 miles worth of travel for the Rams.
Other way.
Oh, it's the other way. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we're going to lose the Ram game. Anyway, I think the only way that we end up winning a game for sure is if Dallas is locked into their position in the playoffs, kind of like they were last year. And Dak plays a quarter, maybe two, and then at halftime, it's, Trey Lance. I think they get one more. They probably finish the season 5-12.
There you go. So we're going to finish up now. We got another show coming out later. We'll talk more about the last game and the draft implications. I'm Rick Snyder.
I'm Matt.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Seasons of Discontent with your hosts, Rick Snyder and Matt Combs.